Hello everyone, it's teacher Kenneth once again. I hope we are all very well today. In our previous episode, we particularly talked about the functions of communication, and I hope that video has helped you better understand its significance to our daily activities. Of course, we have already known that communication is very essential in helping us build our relationships by allowing us to share our experiences and needs and helps us to connect to others. It also allows us to express our feelings, pass on information, and share our thoughts. And of course, through communication, countless opportunities are open for it develops our personalities, helps us to resolve conflicts, as well as aids us in our decision making. Nevertheless, not everything we want to convey is decoded and understood the way it should be. And what do you think are its reasons? Well, that is what our content today is all about. We shall talk about the several factors that would spoil the flow of ideas in the process of communication. These are otherwise known as barriers of communication. And what are these? Well, allow me to put your answers into my mouth. A communication barrier is anything that prevents or disables communicators to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time, or a receiver to get the right message at the right time. Now, why do we need to know these things? Very good. Because, primarily, it is important to know the causes why there are confusions, misunderstandings, or misinterpretations which could result to communication breakdowns. So, before we will be plunging on to our main topic of discussion, allow me to show the lesson objectives that need to be met in today's episode. These objectives are basically anchored on DepEd's learning competency, which are now shown on the screen. And now that we know our objectives for today, let me show you this 4-pick one word, and let's try to guess what these 4 picks are referring to. So, dear learners, what do you think these are? Excellent! These are all pictures that show different kinds of noise. So, what do you think noises can do in the flow of our communication? Exactly! Noises are obstructions that block the flow of communication. They distract both the sender and the receiver in the encoding and decoding of message properly. So at this point, let us all together watch this very short video clip and let's reflect and evaluate what went wrong in the video. Here we go.
Can I help you?
Hello?
Hello?
I can ask you for a number?
Do you have the phone number already?
No, I want to ask you for the number for my friend.
Alright, directory assistants will be able to help you. One moment.
Who is this?
What listing?
I'm looking for the number for my friend.
Sure, what would be the last name?
His name is Chaimot Gebrecher.
Can you help me spell the last name?
Okay, you want to start? I should start.
Sure.
I should start. B-R-E-H-H-E-R, Brecher.
B-R-E, I'm sorry, what was the other letter?
H-H-E-R.
X-X-E-R?
No, H-H for Brecher. It's the same letter 2 times.
Oh, B-R-E-K-K-E-R?
No, H-H-E-R. B-R-E-H-H-E-R for Brecher.
Is it B-R-E-A-K-E-R?
B-R-E-H, that is Breaker, no?
I have a B-R-E-A-K-E-R. Would that be possible?
B-R-E-H, Breaker? No, Brecher. Chamotge Brecher.
What would be the first name?
You don't know Chamotge?
I'm sorry?
Chamotge, you know?
I'm connecting to my supervisor. One moment.
The supervisor.
Supervisor Morris, thank you for waiting. How may I help you?
This is Morris?
This is Mark.
Mark.
Yes.
Oi, is a broch. Because I thought that they was gonna connect me to Hamad Gebrecher.
No, sir. This
Ah.
is the supervisor. Can I help you?
Supervisor.
Yes.
This means you're the best supervisor?
Yes.
No, because you understand my joke. Supervisor. So maybe you have a cape, with a V makes you a supervisor.
That could be it. How can I help you, though, sir?
Oh, I was looking for the number for my friend Hamad Gebrecher.
How are you spelling his last name anyway?
Brecher, B-R-E-H-H-E-R.
That's B-R-E.
B-R-E, Bre.
Yeah.
H-H-E-R, Ger.
S as in Sam?
No, as in Brecher.
C-K-E-R? Or,
Brecher, no, Brecher.
okay, B-R-E. What's the next letter?
Ech.
X like, what, xylophone?
No. You know Solomon nog?
I can't understand what you're saying. You said B-R-E. What's the next letter, though?
Ech. B-R-E, H-H-E-R. R.
Okay, after the E, I don't understand the letter after the E.
Okay, maybe I should give for you a sentence, a different
What's
sentence.
What's the word that it begins with?
Oh, so maybe if I give you a sentence with this sound also, maybe you know over there. Right?
Okay, so I need to know how you're spelling the word, though. I apologize.
No, this is very,
Yeah,
this is very...
it's B-R-E. What's the word that begins with the letter?
Okay, so I make for you a sentence
No.
with the same sound.
No. Just what's a letter that begins with the word after the E?
Chamotre starts with the same letter.
What's that?
Chamotre and Brecher also the same letter.
H?
What?
Are you saying H?
No, Chamotre is like this. Chamotre Brecher went to the store. Is a sentence with that sound.
But I can't understand the letter. I really cannot understand it.
Oh,
I said K, I said H, and then C, and you said...
I'll tell you what we can do. I go through the alphabet, and when I come to this letter, I stop.
Okay, go ahead.
I have to think.
A,
B, C, D, E, F, F now, right?
F,
G, H,
I, J, K, L,
M, N, O,
P.
Ich verstehe nicht. LMNO is one letter.
No, L-M-N-O-P.
Ich hab gemeint, since I'm young, LMNO is a letter, LMNO.
Sir, I really need to get this letter, though, from you. Okay, I have other customers on the line also.
We go weiter. L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S,
right.
S, T, U, V,
Right.
W,
X.
X,
Yes.
X,
Right.
Y,
Right.
and Z, and X.
Well, what's the letter, sir?
X.
It's X.
No. X was a W, X, Y, Z, and X. The last letter.
Okay, it's B-R-E. What is the next letter, sir?
Oei, Sabroch. X, I-R. Supervisor, you know.
Okay, sir, if you can give me the next letter, I can help you. If not, I'm going to have to disconnect from the phone.
Disconnect
Yes,
his phone?
Yes, I need
He didn't pay
you,
the telephone bill?
I need for you to give me the letter, sir.
I'm giving you the number, the letter. The letter?
What is the letter, sir? B-R-E. What's the next letter?
It's so hard for me.
X? Is it X?
Oei.
Yeah, I need to know.
Oei, Sabroch. Oei, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
Okay, sir. I'm going to have to disconnect, okay?
His
I'm
phone,
sorry.
he didn't pay his bill.
Thank you.
So now that we are done watching it, let's answer the following questions. What's the video all about? Who are the persons involved in this video? What are they doing in the video? What have you found out in the video? Why do communication breakdowns happen? Is it important to know the root causes of this occurrence? Very well. At this point, let's get on with the deepening part. You know, in many books and other resource materials, there are different types of communication barriers. But for this episode, I only have to tackle on the very common barriers which we are familiar with. So, let's buckle up. The first barrier is what we call the physical noise. These are external and unnecessary sounds that obstacle to the effective communication. It is also a communication disturbance that is produced and caused by the environment. That is why it is also known as environmental noise. In your day-to-day activities, what environmental noises have you experienced? Can you cite some examples of these? Excellent answers. These are others talking in the background, blowing of horns, too loud music played by our neighbors, fired gunshots, thunders, barking of dogs, sounds of different fast-running vehicles, or anything that may distract the focus and attention of the listeners. Example, while you are listening to your teacher's class discussion, you saw your campus crush walking in the hallway. This time, your attention is being distracted from listening because you now shift your focus to your crush. Or probably one of your classmates is pinching your back because he wants answers during examination. These are all distractions during the course of communication. And by the way, the high or low temperature in the room are also generators of physical noise. In short, physical noises are the actual noises that we really hear or see that may disturb our focus during our speaking, listening session. The second barrier of communication is what we know as physiological noise. It is a barrier that is caused by the communicator's physical condition. Usually, physical illness and weakness produce physical noise, and this noise obstacle to effective communication. And unlike physical noise, this type of noise isn't heard or seen, but these are manifested caused by a physical impairment of a person. For example, John is having a headache. He cannot concentrate listening to my discussion in the class because the headache distracts his focus. Here, the headache is the physical illness that hinders the listening process of communication. Hence, understanding is affected. Other examples may include physical defects or disabilities of a person like deafness or hearing loss. They are physical weakness or physiological noise that barriers to listening, basically because the messages being encoded cannot be decoded or understood caused by these defects. Stuttering of words due to some speech impairments or talking too fast can also be another examples of physiological noise because the ideas being conveyed may be hard to understand or to grasp. Hence, the communication failure. The third kind of barrier is what we know as psychological noise. It is a communication barrier created from the communicator's psychological factors. Examples are the listener's values, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. This type of noise interrupts our minds to concentrate on listening. Naturally, people dislike listening to things or matters that do not interest them or events that make them down. For example, Mark, who is one of your classmates, is a Muslim. Basically, he does not want his religion to be criticized. However, during the course of the class discussion, your teacher talks about issues about Islam that Mark dislikes so much. So, instead of listening to the lecture, Mark would ignore anything about the topic, leading to Mark not understanding the topic at all. In this case, there is a communication breakdown. Why? Because Mark would refuse to entertain and understand anything that he dislikes. And so, there is no amount of explanation or justifications that a speaker can do to make him listen because he has already decided not to. Here, there is clearly a communication breakdown. The fourth type is linguistic/semantic noise. It is a communication barrier created from confusion over the meaning of words. It comes from compound complex sentences, language differences, jargons, highly technical terms, or grammatical errors in communication. Semantic noise occurred because of different meanings of the messages between the sender and the receiver. It also refers to the wrong grammatical sentence that makes the receiver unable to understand the meaning. For example, a medical doctor who is invited to talk about reproductive health, in his lecture, he keeps on using medical terms that the audience are not familiar or have no knowledge at all, and that he cannot simplify or put it in layman's context. So what do you think would happen? Very good. Logically, the purpose of the lecture will be defeated because instead of learning something from the talk, it further confuses the audience, thereby a failed communication. Another example would be, there is a new student in your campus who came from Manila. He speaks Tagalog and English, but when they went to the canteen for a lunch, his Cebuano classmate asked him what his viand is. At an instant, this new student told him it's paksiw and showed it to him. What do you think the reaction of the Cebuano would be? Right. He might laugh or make a grin. Why? Because paksiw in Cebu is a pork lechon cooked in vinegar and other spices. While in Manila, paksiw is simply any kind of fish cooked and simmered in vinegar. So you see, there is a confusion of the meaning here. And by the way, the video that you have just watched earlier on is one concrete example of a linguistic noise simply because both the caller and the operator had a hard time understanding each other because of their linguistic competence. The fifth type of barrier is what we call cultural noise. This is a communication barrier created from the wrong explanation of another person's behaviors. Actually, cultural noise is produced due to the wrong meaning of messages. Therefore, it is a little similar to semantic noise. Especially, cultural noise is created from the nonverbal communication of people from different cultural backgrounds. The basic kinds of nonverbal communication cues are posture, gestures, eye contact, space, touch, and dress up. The meaning of nonverbal cues is not the same in every culture and society. Take this for example. In India, tilting one's head from side to side means it is a confirmation and that he is actively listening to you. Well, we Filipinos would find it very unusual because we nod our heads like this when we agree or when we manifest that we are listening, right? Another example. In Arab countries, men hold hands and kiss each other in greetings, but would never do the same with a woman. Well, if you happen to see this scenario in the Philippines, chances are we will be surprised or we feel awkward. In Thailand and Laos, for example, it is a taboo to touch anyone's head, even for children, because to them, touching another person's head is a form of disrespect. In South Korea, elders can actually touch younger people with force when they try to get through a crowd, but younger people can't do the same. Apart from that, ethnocentrism, prejudices, stereotypes, and discrimination are all examples of cultural noises. And these factors bar effective communication in a group or a team. You see, it is really very important to understand one's culture first before we make judgments. I'm sure our own gestures here would also be misunderstood when we are in their grounds. The last and the sixth type of barrier is emotional noise. This noise includes feelings or emotions or thoughts that may pull you down or prevent you from achieving your hopes and your dreams and may feel like it is sabotaging your goals. Example, when one is mourning because of the death of a family member, no matter what words of sympathy are expressed to him or to her, these words don't have meanings to that person at all because he or she is consumed by his sadness. Or what if you are heartbroken because you just broke up with your girlfriend or your boyfriend whom you care so much? And then you get inside your class because your teacher would explain a very important issue about climate change. Do you think you would still be able to concentrate? Definitely not. Because no matter how good the explanation may be, all these are futile or useless efforts of a teacher because you are consumed by the pains you feel inside. Hence, communication fails. So, those are the 6 types of barriers in communication that would cause breakdown. So let's have a little recap. These are 1. Physical noise. 2nd, physiological noise. 3rd, psychological noise. The 4th, linguistic or semantic noise. 5th is the cultural noise. And the 6th one is the emotional noise. However, as they say, if problems exist, so are solutions. Meaning, there might be times that we encounter any of these noises or barriers in the course of our communication with others. But there are also ways to prevent them from happening. So, let's try to identify these tips to avoid communication breakdowns. What are these? 1. Listen. Always listen. Remember, God created a man with 2 ears and a mouth so that he may be able to listen more and talk less. But here's one trivia. Hearing and listening are 2 different things. While hearing is just the passive intake of sound, listening is the act of intentionally working to comprehend the sounds you hear. Hence, always listen so that communication breakdown can be avoided. 2nd, pay attention. Pay attention to body language. Let us not forget that actions speak louder than words. This is my takeaway. We may not always believe in what you say, but we will always believe in what you do. So pay attention to gestures, movements, facial expressions, and everything that words don't express. 3rd, be receptive to the tone of voice. More often, we do not take the real meaning of words being expressed. It is how the words are being expressed that count. You see, when you are just keen on this aspect, confusions, misunderstandings, and conflicts are avoided. The 4th one is just use simple terms in comprehensible language. To impress a point is useless when words and sentences are complex and hard to grasp. They will defeat the purpose of communication, which is to induce understanding. So, if all these 4 simple tips are applied in all communication situations, certainly there is peace and harmony in the world. Now, let's check how far have we gone with our understanding. Let's do some application of our newfound knowledge. Please take a look at the screen for the instructions. Now for the assessment, this is all you need to do. In 500 words, create an essay about your experience in miscommunication. You will be graded according to the following rubrics that are shown on the screen. And because we don't have the luxury of time to do this, you need to submit this essay for the next meeting. The essay should be written on a clean sheet of paper. And for your assignment, you need to download a short video clip showing a communication situation that clearly manifests breakdown in the communication process. Make sure you can provide some solutions to the problems being shown on your video clip. Send your video clip to your class GC. And that concludes our lesson on barriers of communication. I hope I was able to make another productive day with you. And before I say goodbye, let me end this video with a quote. It is not the distance that keeps people apart, but it is the lack of communication that does. Once again, this is Teacher Kenneth saying, Maayong adlaw kanatong tanan.